Today I'd like to talk about some of the steps we went through, or some of the steps you can go through before you shoot, or before you the process you go through while shooting a movie. I'll specifically go to a short film. The short film we did this year was called Antoinette. We did it with Pioneer Girls film, the film members. The film was good, and though we tried as much as possible to follow the due steps, I wrote the story. The inspiration about the story, I got it from the students themselves. Being a teacher, I looked around some of the stories that we get, stories that were somehow fascinating, especially from the indisciplined sector. You realize that most students, the indisciplined cases that are attached to them, are as a result of poor upbringing. Yeah, they're just products of poor upbringing. If you see any child being in serious indiscipline cases, if you go deeper, you'll realize that in most cases, the child is either being raised by a single parent, or the family has just separated somewhere in between the upbringing of the child. Therefore, we have got a detach either of the parent, the mom, that is, or the dad. One of them is not present in the life of that child. The film Antoinette, the girl, is called Trista. She takes the role very nicely. Though because of time, we did not adequately shoot all the areas that we wanted to shoot, because uh, the the planners of the event, you see, the movie was to be for the film festivals, and we were to have a timeline. But then suddenly, these guys just pushed the timeline back by 1 week. Imagine, we had to freeze or to squeeze everything that was to happen in 7 days, and we brought everything to 1 week, to 1 day, including editing. We had to edit this movie in less than 24 hours. It was not easy. Those who know the process of film editing, you can really pity with me what I really had to go through. Yet, it was my first time editing my own movie. I've written a movie before. I wrote Pieces Reattached in 2016. This is a movie I've written this year, but I had never gone through the process of editing a movie. I've been editing music and short clips like uh, these ones we're doing here, but the ones for movie, not easy. Okay, today I will take you through the steps that you go through, the steps for shooting a movie. There are three major steps that you go through when shooting a movie. Step one, you first come up with a story. You develop a concept. Just develop a concept. What do you want to showcase? A movie is generally telling people a story through the camera, through your lens. You want to tell people a story. The difference that is there between film and theater is that in film, people have to see. They may not necessarily be understanding the language you're using, but they have to see. As much as audio is very, very important in film, people have to hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, people may not understand the language you're using. But they may still understand the film because of well choreographed cinematography, well use of the camera and the lens to communicate so that somebody can really understand the movie. So the first thing you do, you come up with a story. What do you want to tell people about? The second thing is the production stage. Is the not really production, but the pre-production stage, and the third one is what you call the rehearsal and the final preparation. Then you go to shooting. Then, so what do we do? What do we do in the first stages? What do we do in the first stages? How to develop a concept. First thing, because a short film, you have to really look at how many characters do you want to use. You should not, at least don't exceed 5 characters. It will be hectic. In a school setting, we do not have actors. You may not have actors who are professional. Therefore, in a school setting, shooting a movie is quite a challenge because you have to train everyone that you're using on set on how to act. Like if you watch the movie Internet, you realize that some of our actors were even looking at the lens, and they did it severally, so that we had to shoot and reshoot. We had to take and retake several times, and it was not an easy thing. cut. So in the first step, what you do is to first come up with a cast. I've said you come up with a minimal cast of about 5 people. Come up with a small budget. Don't come up with a very huge budget. Use equipment that you have. You may even shoot a movie with a phone. You don't necessarily need to have cameras. You may shoot with a phone if you have a good phone. At least I prefer using two. Using one might be quite a challenge, especially when you have a dialogue going on. It might be a challenge. Therefore, you can even shoot with a phone. Next, you can also plan on the props and costume. Use the costumes that are quite available. Try and make your budget as cheap as possible. Use what you have. Like in my case, I think my budget was nearly zero because I took charge of the equipment. They were my own equipment. The sound equipment was mine, though it was quite new. I did not know how to use it at that time. I went through a number of shots before, a number of scenes, shooting a number of scenes before I knew how to really bring it to order. If you listen to it, you realize some challenges at the beginning. The audio had some challenges, but towards the end, I had solved that. Next, after you have minimized the props and the costume, find something that is quite cheap and available. Then go watch movies. Just go online, watch movies, watch videos, even songs. Especially if you want to shoot a movie, people having a dialogue. Go find a movie or go watch an interview where somebody is shooting a dialogue. Look at the shots, the cinematograph shots that somebody is taking. From that, you can master some shots that you would wish to use in your film. You see, most teachers who do film, they're not professionals, and some of them have just begun the other day. Therefore, once you go watching and you write down the scenes, you start imagining, you start creating the film in your head. So as you're watching, you don't watch the interview, you are watching at the shots that the cinematographer used. Then you might apply the same shots in your various scenes. If you have a scene where somebody is running, find a film, watch how the cinematographer shot a running character. Then you can apply the same shots in your scene or in a film. Lastly, in the first way, draft a storyboard, or we can call it the types of shots that you're taking that you have copied from or you have learned from your predecessors should at least at the end of the day be engaging your audience and telling the story that you want to film to the people. To the pre-production stage, pre-production generally means this is where now you do your sample, you select people that would like to shoot. For example, in the case of Antoinette, I had about 3 girls who could do that part very well, but now I had to consider a number of things. I wanted because you see this girl had to play various roles. One, she had to play like she was a lesbian. Two, she had to play she had to play to be a drug addict, or not really a drug addict, but a drug peddler. She had to play to be a bad girl, and at the same time she had to play to be a good girl. We were expecting to see that good girl in her as much as the film was showing us that she was a bad girl, because at the end of the day the principal tells us that she's a good girl, she's a good student. Therefore we needed somebody that was neat, somebody that dresses well. Yeah, that was first priority. Two, we needed somebody that would not expect her to be too big, maybe body wise. We wanted somebody that was quite minimal in size, so that all those characters might fit her, and she was quite outspoken. We wanted somebody that could also act to be afraid very well, like the way she did before the principal, and that was in order. So choice of characters should be something that you can do in a day. That should not take long. You can also choose some assistants to help you. Like I had some girls helping me to run the second camera because I was having one camera, not the major one. The major one was on a tripod, so it was easy one girl was handling. For me, that was Margaret was handling not Margaret, what was her name? Tabitha was handling the main camera. And also, because we do not have personnel to hire to check audio for us, she was in charge of audio. I think that's where we lost it. It's not supposed to be that way. If you are shooting a movie, don't do what I did. That's why we had such challenges, because multitasking between the camera and also listening to audio, making sure it is in order, needs a serious professional to do that. Needs a serious professional to do that. So you'll need a camera personnel to help your second one. Thirdly, you'll need a sound personnel besides the camera. Then you'll need a production assistant, or you might need an assistant director. This one will help you in things like script management, to make sure that the actors are within the script. What they're saying is within the script, not outside the script. Again, planning logistics. Then also in this pre-production stage, you have to assemble all the equipment. If you wanted 2 cameras or 2 phones, make sure that in this pre-production stage is where you assemble all the equipment. If you wanted 2 cameras, make sure you have the 2 cameras. If you wanted a microphone, make sure a boom mic, make sure it is available. If you wanted 5 members, make sure you have chosen and selected all of them to be around. Light equipment, you need it. Light is everything now. To me, I believe light should be more important than audio, because sometimes people may not listen to what you're saying. But in a film, they have to see. Show them. Let them see. A good video, a good film, a well-shot film will do better. Will do much better. Rehearse with your members. Rehearse on what they have to do. Go through the various scenes together. Assemble the props. Let them know how to use them before you start shooting. Fix all the issues. Just fix everything before you start shooting. And lastly, now on the D-Day, on the shooting day, the first thing you do, on the first day, don't start with the easiest. But don't start with the easiest, start with the most difficult. But in my case, because I was using very new actors, amateur actors, I had to start with the simplest, so that when they get used to the camera. If you are dealing with actors like mine, don't start with the most complex. Start with the simplest, so that they adopt with the camera before them, they adapt with the acting, and then don't shoot many scenes on the first day. Just shoot two or one scene on the first, a very small scene. If you're using amateur actors, don't shoot a long scene on the first day. Just shoot a small scene on the first day. Let them go. And then don't shoot on the second day. Give them time to to realize that this is how shooting goes. Then go and preview what you shot. If possible, edit. Look at the mistakes here and there. Correct. Then go and go and correct them, or go and show them what they did. Through that, they can also learn to know, oh, this is how I appear before the camera. Therefore, I can improve my appearance by doing this, or by standing like this, by improving my emotions this way. The second shot, the third and fourth now, that's where now you can engage scenes where there's a lot of dialogue, a lot of actions, scenes that need a lot of energy. That's how I believe you can shoot a successful film, short film in a school setting. Next year, or this year, next week I'm also planning to shoot another movie, and hopefully it will go well. Though this will not be a school movie, it will just be a movie, the outside world. Thank you.